A limnic eruption, also referred to as a lake overturn, is a rare type of natural disaster in which dissolved carbon dioxide suddenly erupts from deep lake waters, forming a gas cloud that can suffocate wildlife, livestock, and humans in the surrounding area. Such eruptions may also cause tsunamis in the lake as the rising CO2 displaces water. In 1986, a limnic eruption at Lake Nyos killed 17,000 people as far as 15 miles away, many who were suffocated by the release of carbon dioxide. When corals are stressed by changes in conditions such as temperature, light, or nutrients, they expel the symbiotic algae living within their tissues, causing them to turn completely white. Recent increased amounts of CO2 dissolved in the ocean is killing coral reefs. 90% of ocean life could die off. Within the next 20 years, the maximum population of the Earth can only be supported under 1 billion. According to marine biologists, it approximately takes 1,000 years for a coral reef to grow 1 inch. It also can take somewhere between 100,000 and 30 million years for a reef to fully form. With the extended amount of coral bleaching, the wildlife cannot sustain in the ocean. Corals also release a significant amount of oxygen into our atmosphere. With corals dying and being bleached out at rapid rates, there is no telling when humanity could suffer from this situation. The Cascadia subduction zone, also referred to as the Cascadia Fault, is a convergent plate boundary that stretches from northern Vancouver Island to northern California. The Great Subduction Zone earthquakes are the most powerful earthquakes known to occur and can exceed a magnitude of 9.0. When enough energy has accumulated in a lock zone on the fault, it'll rupture and cause a megathrust earthquake. If a Cascadia earthquake were to take place, millions of lives would be lost, as well as hundreds of billions of dollars of damage taking place all the way from Vancouver down to San Francisco. Aside from the earthquake damage itself, a massive tsunami would also end up wiping out a good portion of almost all of the coastal cities. Unfortunately for humanity, a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake happens every 500 to 600 years. However, it has been close to 900 since one has happened, thus putting us well overdue for this type of catastrophic natural disaster. Yellowstone National Park sits inside 3 overlapping calderas. The shallow, bowl-shaped depressions formed when the underground magma chamber erupts would cause a devastating effect on the entire United States. The magma itself wouldn't be the main threat. However, the ash that would fly within 500 miles of the eruption, covering everything in its path with dense, thick ash. Scientists predict that the ash would be pretty devastating for the United States. The fallout would include short-term destruction of Midwest agriculture, and rivers and streams would be clogged by the gray muck. If the super eruption were to take place, it would spew vast quantities of gases, such as sulfur dioxide, which forms a sulfur aerosol that absorbs sunlight and reflects some of it back to space. The resulting climate cooling could last up to a decade, and the shift in the temperature would decrease significantly. Scientists conclude that with the eruption of the Yellowstone calderas, the United States would have significant loss. But the Yellowstone megablast would contribute to at least 80% of the world's population either dying or suffering from famine. Antibiotic resistance is the ability of bacteria to resist the effects of an antibiotic. Antibiotic resistance occurs when the bacteria changes in a way that reduces the effectiveness of the drugs, chemicals, or agents designed to cure or prevent infections. The end result is the bacteria survives and continues to multiply, causing more harm. Antibiotic resistance has been called one of the world's most pressing public health concerns. Illnesses that were once treatable can now become dangerous infections, prolonging suffering for children and adults. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria can spread amongst family members, schoolmates, and coworkers, and may even threaten communities and entire cities. Resistance is quickly making many forms of cancer treatment and other surgeries, including organ transplant, impossible, and exponentially claiming more lives every year. Soon, antibiotic resistance will claim more lives than cancer and diabetes combined. Some of the main reasons behind the resistance is antibiotic abuse and the drug and medical industry trying to find stronger antibiotics. Many experts believe that the overuse of antibiotics in livestock, mainly chickens in the US industry, also caused bacteria to become resistant.